Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to speak to you about a sobering truth, a reality many avoid. A truth that demands our attention. Life is not a game. It's not something you pause, restart, or casually play when you're in the mood. Life is a sacred trust, a divine assignment, a temporary stewardship that comes with accountability. And until we see it as such, we will continue to waste time, potential, and opportunity. One of the most dangerous illusions of modern living is the belief that there will always be more time. We move through life as if there is a backup plan, an alternate path, a second chance waiting just around the corner. But life is not a game, and unlike a game, there are no resets, no second rounds, no restarts. There is only one life, one shot, one opportunity to fulfill what you were born to do, and once it passes, it's gone forever. Every second you live, you are writing a page in the story of your life, not in pencil, but in permanent ink. There is no eraser, no undo button. You can't relive yesterday, and you cannot borrow tomorrow. What you do today counts every thought, every word, every choice. Time is the most valuable currency you have, yet it is the one most people spend the most carelessly. We spend time as if we are immortal, as if the clock will wait for us to figure things out, to get serious, to start living right. But the truth is, the clock is not waiting for you. It is ticking, and it has been ticking since the day you were born. The great tragedy of life is not death. The great tragedy is reaching the end of your life only to realize you never really lived it. You existed, but you never fulfilled. You were busy, but never effective. You chased shadows, but never touched substance. You kept saying later, until later turned into never. Life doesn't wait for the perfect moment, it rewards those who recognize that every moment is precious. You see, when you play a game, you can lose and start over. You can make mistakes and try again, but in life, certain mistakes cost you years. Some decisions take you down roads you were never meant to travel, and the detour is not a matter of minutes, it's a matter of decades. Some opportunities only come once, and if you miss them, they don't come back. That's the weight of real life. That's why it's not a game, because in this life you don't get a do-over. Many people think that time is free. But just because you don't see a price tag doesn't mean there isn't a cost. Wasted time is the most expensive mistake you can make because you never get a refund. Every hour lost in distraction, fear, laziness, or confusion is an hour you could have spent in progress, growth, and fulfillment. We are not just wasting minutes, we are wasting destiny. If you knew exactly how much time you had left, you would stop playing. You would stop delaying. You would stop waiting for people's approval. You would wake up with clarity. You would forgive faster. You would pursue your purpose with urgency. You would love deeper. You would create, build, serve, give. But why should it take a crisis, a diagnosis, or a tragedy for us to start living like we understand time is limited? You don't need a countdown clock to take your life seriously. You need a revelation, the realization that your life is a gift on loan, and one day the giver will ask what you did with it. Every breath you take is a sign that there is still more for you to do, more to become, more to impact. But make no mistake, just because you are breathing doesn't mean you're truly alive. Life is not measured by the number of years you live, but by what you do with those years. We all start with time, but not all of us use it well. Some invest it, others waste it, and the difference is not in how much time we have, it's in how seriously we treat it. Don't wait until life slaps you awake. Wake yourself up. Ask the hard questions. Am I moving in the direction of purpose or just motion? Am I doing what matters or just what's convenient? Am I living on purpose or just existing on autopilot? There is no scoreboard for wasted potential. There is no trophy for regret. There is only today, right now, this moment. You don't get to replay your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. You don't get to relive your childhood, rebuild your reputation overnight, or rewind time with your family. All you have is now, and if you keep treating time like a game, you'll end up losing what matters most. So be wise, live awake, stop waiting for someday and begin now. Don't just count the days, make the days count. Because in the end, The only people who win in life are the ones who didn't waste it thinking they had more time. You were not just born to fill space, pay bills, and eventually disappear. You were not a biological accident or the result of chance. You were sent here intentionally, strategically, and purposefully. There is a vast difference between simply being born and being sent. Birth is an event, being sent is an assignment. And until you grasp the truth that you were sent, life will always feel like something you're trying to figure out rather than something you're here to fulfill. There's something that was placed inside you before you ever took your first breath. Something eternal, unshakable, and specific to your existence. You carry something the world needs. You don't just wake up each day randomly. You wake up because there's still a mission assigned to your name. You weren't born just to survive. You were sent to solve something, to shift something, to build something, to heal something, to reveal something. You are not an extra in the story of humanity. You are a key character written into the plot with purpose and design. The reason many people feel lost is because they confuse existence with purpose. Just because you're breathing doesn't mean you're aligned with why you're here. Life isn't about how long you live, it's about how well you fulfill the reason you were sent. You don't choose your purpose, you discover it. You uncover what's already embedded within you. The gifts, the passions, the instincts, the burdens on your heart, they're not there by accident. They are clues, signals pointing you toward your assignment. But here's the issue: when you forget that you were sent, you start living to be accepted. You start living for applause instead of impact. You begin to chase titles instead of legacy. You follow trends instead of truth. You shrink to fit in rather than stand tall to stand out. But the person who knows they were sent cannot be distracted by popularity or paralyzed by fear. Because when you know you're sent, you walk with conviction. You move with clarity. You may not know every detail, but you know the direction. You may not see the whole map, but you trust the call. You were sent at a specific time in history for a reason. You were not meant to be born in another era, another culture, or another family. Your background, your strengths, your story, all of it was custom, designed to equip you for your purpose. The pain you've endured, the lessons you've learned, the failures you've survived, they weren't meaningless. They were preparation. They were shaping you for your work, building the character necessary to handle the weight of your assignment. And your assignment doesn't require you to be someone else. It requires you to be fully yourself, not the version the world approves of, but the version aligned with your Creator's intent. Authenticity is the key to activation. When you abandon who you are to become who others want, you betray the very reason you were sent. The original you is the one that's dangerous, powerful, and needed. Your uniqueness is not a flaw. It's a feature of your calling. You don't have to figure out your purpose in one day, but you do have to be intentional about pursuing it every day. When you live as someone who was sent, you stop wasting time on things that don't align. You stop chasing after people who don't recognize your value. You stop settling in places you were meant to pass through. Purpose gives you boundaries. It gives you standards. It gives you the power to say no, not because you're arrogant, but because you're focused. You were sent to influence something, maybe not millions, maybe not the world stage, but someone somewhere is waiting for what's inside of you. There are people whose growth is connected to your voice, people who will rise because you stood up, people who will heal because you showed up. Your purpose is not just about you. It's about those your life will touch when you step into who you were created to be. You may never meet them all, but your obedience will echo into their lives. And this is why life is not a game. Because when someone is sent, they are expected to deliver. You don't get to opt out without consequence. The world suffers when those who are sent go silent. The future suffers when potential remains buried. You don't need permission to be who you were created to be. You already have an assignment. You just need to stop living like you're random and start living like you're responsible. Because in the end, the greatest tragedy is not dying, it's dying full of dreams that were never pursued, full of books that were never written, songs never sung, businesses never launched, lives never changed, burdens never lifted, all because you forgot you were sent, or you remembered too late. So don't just live, fulfill, Don't just breathe, build. Don't just exist, execute. Purpose sounds attractive. It sounds powerful. People love to talk about purpose. It inspires them, moves them, makes them feel significant. But very few want to pay the price it demands. And the truth is this: purpose is never free. The currency it demands is responsibility. Every time you rise toward your assignment, life will test your willingness to carry the weight of it. Every gift you've been given, every opportunity you've received, every ounce of potential that lives inside of you, it all comes with responsibility attached. There is no purpose without accountability. You cannot live meaningfully and avoid the burden that comes with that meaning. You cannot carry influence and reject discipline. You cannot pray for greatness and live irresponsibly. People want to be celebrated for their dreams, but they don't want to be corrected for their habits. They want the spotlight without the sacrifice, the platform without the preparation, the reward without the responsibility. But life doesn't work like that. Purpose is not a stage. It is a call to action. It demands that you wake up with intention, that you take ownership of your time, your choices, your words, your growth. You can't walk in purpose and keep blaming everyone else for why you haven't started yet. You can't fulfill your destiny while holding on to excuses. Every excuse you keep is a door you close on your future. It's easy to talk about what we want to do, where we want to go, who we want to become. But it's responsibility that turns desire into destiny. Purpose is not fulfilled by people who are inspired. It's fulfilled by people who are consistent. You must take charge of your own development. You must manage your own energy, your own attitude, your own reactions, because no one is going to live your purpose for you. Responsibility begins where blame ends. As long as you're pointing fingers at other people, life will remain outside your control. But the moment you say, "It's on me," that's the moment you reclaim your power. That's when you start moving forward. Maturity is not about age, it's about ownership. Grown people can still be emotionally immature if they keep running from the weight of their own decisions. You don't need perfect conditions to take responsibility. You don't need every answer. You don't need everyone to support you. What you need is to stop waiting for someone else to fix your life and recognize that the power to build, to rise, to change, to grow already exists inside you. Responsibility says, even if I didn't cause it, I'll still take charge of it. It says, even if I feel overwhelmed, I will not run from what I must carry. There is a reason your potential is heavy, because it was never meant to be taken lightly. The people who make impact are not always the most talented. They are the ones who take what they have seriously. They are the ones who show up, who stay late, who study longer, who serve when no one is watching. They are not waiting to be noticed. They're focused on being responsible, because they understand that purpose without responsibility is like a car without fuel. It looks good, but it doesn't go anywhere. The dream that lives in your heart was given to you for a reason, but that dream will demand discipline. It will demand sacrifice. It will ask you to say no to things others enjoy so you can say yes to what you were called to build. It will require you to be different, sometimes alone, sometimes misunderstood. But that's what comes with real purpose. If everyone could carry it, it wouldn't be purpose, it would be preference. Responsibility is what separates the curious from the committed. Many admire what purpose looks like in others, but they won't step into it themselves because they're afraid of what it will cost. But you will never rise beyond what you're willing to be responsible for. You can't hold influence with weak hands. You can't lead if you're still looking for someone else to fix your life. You must take ownership of your story, your healing, your mind, your path. You are not just a product of your past. You are the manager of your future. Even your pain is something you must learn to take responsibility for, not because you caused it, but because it cannot be allowed to control you forever. Responsibility says, this may have broken me, but I will not let it define me. It says, I may have failed, but I will not stop. It says, I may have been hurt, but I will heal and rise and finish what I was sent to do. When you understand that purpose is tied to responsibility, you stop asking for an easier life and start praying for stronger shoulders. You stop waiting for the right mood and start moving with the right mindset. You understand that to carry something meaningful in this world, you must become someone capable of holding it without breaking under the pressure. So don't ask for a life of comfort. Ask for clarity, courage, and character. Don't ask to be noticed. Ask to be ready, because your life is not a game, it's an assignment, and only the responsible will fulfill what they were sent to do. Time is the one thing you're spending every second, whether you realize it or not. It's not loud. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't care about your plans or feelings. It moves forward constantly, quietly, and without mercy. From the moment you entered this world, your clock began ticking, and every heartbeat since then has been a step closer to your expiration. That's not to scare you, that's to sober you, because the sooner you understand the weight of time, the sooner you stop wasting it. There is an expiration date attached to your name. You won't live forever, and because of that, you don't have the luxury of living casually. You don't have time to keep repeating the same mistakes, staying in places you've outgrown, or waiting for everyone to understand you. You don't have time to keep saying someday to the things that matter most. Someday is not a day on the calendar. It's an excuse wrapped in false hope. Time is not waiting for you to figure out your priorities. It will keep moving whether you wake up to your purpose or not. The illusion of time is one of the most dangerous deceptions people live under. They think they have more of it, more time to forgive, more time to get serious, more time to change, more time to start, but time is not promised. It is given in moments that once lost, never return. You can make more money, you can build new relationships, but you cannot make more time. When it's gone, it's gone. You don't get a refund on time you wasted in bitterness, confusion, procrastination, or fear. Every day you wake up is not a guarantee, it's a gift, and that gift is not just for you to enjoy, it's for you to use. You were given time because you were given purpose. You were given breath because there's still something in you that needs to be fulfilled. But even purpose has a deadline. There's a window for the assignment you were sent to accomplish, and that window will not stay open forever. When you understand that, your values begin to change. You stop wasting your energy on things that don't feed your calling. You stop entertaining conversations that drain your spirit. You stop chasing things that only impress people who don't even care about your destiny. Time gives you opportunities, but not guarantees, and that's what makes it sacred. The fact that it runs out is what gives it power. Imagine if you knew the exact day your time would be up, how different would you live? What would you stop doing? What would you start? Who would you apologize to? Who would you forgive? What dreams would you finally act on? What fears would you silence? The reality is, you don't know your expiration date, and that's why every day you ignore your purpose. You gamble with something you cannot afford to lose. Time is not just about speed, it's about direction. You can be busy and still be lost. You can move fast and still be going nowhere. That's why reflection is so important. You must evaluate your life regularly. Are you spending your time on things that matter, or just things that keep you distracted? Are your daily choices aligned with the person you were born to become, or are they just habits you've never challenged? It's not enough to be active, you must be accurate, because wasted time leads to wasted purpose. You must also understand that other people's urgency is not your urgency. Their pace is not your standard. You weren't sent to compete. You were sent to complete something specific, and because of that, your time must be guarded like treasure. You can't give it to everyone. You can't allow everyone access to your peace, your focus, your hours. Every yes you give is a no to something else. So choose wisely. You cannot afford to be accessible to everything and still be effective. There will come a day when you will have to give an account not just for what you did, but for what you didn't do, for what you delayed, for what you buried, for what you postponed while waiting for perfect conditions. Life is not waiting for you to be ready. Life rewards those who move while it's still day, because when night comes, no man can work. That means there is a season where things are possible, and there is a season when those same things become too late. Purpose delayed long enough becomes purpose denied. You were not given time to simply pass it. You were given time to use it to grow something, to heal something, to build something that outlives you, to deposit your gift into the earth before your number is called. And you don't have to live in fear of death to respect the value of life. In fact, it's only when you truly understand how fragile and short life is that you begin to live it fully. With focus, with clarity, with urgency, because in the end it won't be about how much time you had. It will be about how well you used it. The world has trained us to chase success, to pursue status, to collect trophies and applause. From a young age you're told to aim high, to be somebody, to win. But what the world calls success is often a distraction, because real success is not about what you achieve, it's about why you achieved it. If your success has no connection to your purpose, then what you've built is just a shiny version of failure. It may impress people, it may get attention, but deep down it leaves you empty, because success without purpose is failure wearing a mask. You can have money, fame, power and still miss your assignment. You can build an empire and still be unfulfilled. You can be known everywhere and still not be known by yourself. That's the tragedy. So many people look successful from the outside, but on the inside they feel lost. They climbed the ladder, but it was leaning against the wrong wall. They chased what culture applauded instead of what they were created for. They followed the crowd instead of their calling, and by the time they realize it, they've spent decades running in the wrong direction. True success is never measured by possessions or position. It is measured by alignment. Are you doing what you were born to do? Are you living according to your design, your gifts, your conviction? That is what matters. Because when you're walking in purpose, you may not have all the things the world celebrates, but you'll have peace, you'll have clarity, you'll have the inner knowing that you're exactly where you were meant to be. The problem is, we've allowed systems to define success for us. We think it's about how many followers we have, how much money we make, how many degrees are behind our name. But if the applause of men becomes louder than the whisper of your spirit, you will trade your assignment for attention. You'll start performing instead of fulfilling. You'll start curating an image instead of cultivating your purpose. And the danger of image is that it can't sustain you when life falls apart. You need something deeper than perception. You need purpose. Purpose gives meaning to everything. It gives meaning to the struggle. It gives meaning to the waiting. It gives meaning to the sacrifice. Without purpose, all you have is activity. Movement without direction. Energy without fulfillment. Purpose tells you where to go, who to become, what to say no to. And if your success costs you your purpose, then it has already cost you too much. No amount of money can pay for the peace you lose when you ignore your calling. No level of status can replace the emptiness of living outside your design. Sometimes the worst thing that can happen is that you succeed at the wrong thing. Because once you're comfortable, you're less likely to change direction. Success can become a trap. It can convince you that comfort means you're on the right path, when in reality, you're just drifting further from the reason you were sent. That's why you must constantly check in with yourself. Don't just ask, am I winning? Ask, am I winning at what I was called to do? Because if the answer is no, you're not winning. You're just distracted. Purpose will often pull you away from what's popular. It won't always make sense to others. Sometimes it will look like you're going backwards, but purpose is not concerned with appearance. It's concerned with alignment. It's not about how fast you're moving. It's about whether you're moving in the direction of destiny. People may not understand your choices. They may question your path, but that's not your concern. You're not here to fulfill their expectations. You're here to fulfill your assignment. You weren't sent to impress. You were sent to impact. There's a difference. You can impress people with talent and charm, but impact comes from living in truth, from staying faithful to what you were designed to build, from refusing to compromise your values for a bigger stage. Real fulfillment comes when what you do aligns with who you are and why you're here. That's what it means to be successful in the eyes of eternity. You have to define success for yourself before the world does it for you. You have to decide what matters most, because if you don't, you'll end up chasing what everyone else is chasing, and still feel like something is missing. You'll spend your life building something big, only to realize it wasn't yours to build in the first place. That's a silent kind of failure, the kind that looks good but feels wrong, the kind that claps on the outside but cries on the inside. You were not created to mimic, you were created to manifest. There's a difference between being successful and being significant. Success is about what you gain, significance is about what you give. Success may end with you, but significance continues long after you're gone. And the only way to live a life of significance is to live a life of purpose. So ask yourself, not what do I want, but why was I born? Not what can I get, but what am I here to give? Because until you answer those questions, no matter what you accomplish, something will always feel missing, and that feeling is not failure. It's the voice of your purpose reminding you that you were made for more. Every day, every hour, every moment you're making choices. Some are loud and obvious, others are silent and subtle, but they all matter, because life is not random and destiny doesn't happen by accident. You do not stumble into greatness or accidentally arrive at your purpose. Destiny is built decision by decision, choice by choice, and whether you realize it or not, your future is being shaped not in one dramatic moment, but in the thousands of small decisions you make when no one is watching. We often imagine that our lives will change in some big moment, that we'll wake up one day and everything will be clear, but that's not how it works. Your life is the sum total of your choices. You are either walking toward your purpose or drifting from it with every decision. And this is why life cannot be treated like a game because the stakes are too high. Every yes or no, every delay or decision, every response or reaction is either a brick in the structure of your destiny or a crack in its foundation. People often blame fate, circumstances, or other people for where they are. But the truth is, the most powerful force steering your life is not outside of you, it's the choices you make daily. You choose how you respond to pain. You choose who you give your time to. You choose what you tolerate. You choose what voices you listen to. And eventually those choices become patterns, those patterns become character, and that character becomes your future. The tragedy is that many people don't realize the weight of their decisions until they've already lived the consequences. They didn't know that the habit they entertained for comfort would become an addiction that held them back. They didn't realize that one compromised value would become a lifestyle of compromise. One wrong relationship turned into a decade of detour. And by the time they wake up, time has passed, opportunities have closed, and restoration is harder than they imagined. But the good news is this: if your choices can destroy your destiny, then your choices can also rebuild it. You are never too far gone to decide differently. You are never so off track that you cannot turn around. The power of choice is the most dangerous and most beautiful gift you've been given. And the moment you take it seriously, you begin to take your life back. Every great destiny is the result of deliberate decisions. Decisions to stay when it would be easier to quit. Decisions to be disciplined when others are distracted. Decisions to walk away when your ego wants to stay. Decisions to forgive when your pride wants revenge. These are the hidden moments where futures are formed, not on the stage, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet places where no one sees you and you decide to rise anyway. You cannot claim to want purpose and keep making careless decisions. You cannot ask for clarity and live in confusion. You cannot cry for impact while choosing comfort. Your decisions must align with your desires. If you want purpose, choose purpose. Choose the path that requires growth. Choose the way that builds you, even if it doesn't feel easy. Choose the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Because every choice is creating a future, either the one you were born for or the one you'll regret. Destiny is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. People may open doors for you. They may teach you, support you, love you. But no one can choose for you, and no one can live the consequences of your decisions but you. There's no way to bypass it. You can pray all day, but if your choices are not in agreement with your purpose, your life will reflect contradiction. Prayer brings power, but your decisions bring direction. And if you're waiting for someone to choose for you, you will always live beneath your potential. You must take responsibility. You must learn to pause before reacting. You must learn to reflect before deciding. Because impulsive choices often cost the most. Emotion is a terrible leader. Wisdom must be your guide. Learn to choose not just based on how you feel, but based on where you're going. Some choices are costly, but they are worth it. Some decisions hurt in the short term, but they heal in the long term. Some roads are narrow, but they lead to life. And some voices will tell you to take the easy path, but that path is crowded with regret. Don't be deceived by what's convenient. Choose what is consistent with your calling. Choose what brings you into alignment, even if it costs you approval, because the road to purpose is paved with unpopular decisions. You are building something with your life, brick by brick, moment by moment, action by action. What you're building cannot be seen in a day, but it will be revealed over time. When the storms come, it will become clear whether your foundation was built on impulse or intention. Choose well, choose with vision. Choose with the awareness that you are not playing a game. You are constructing a legacy. There is something quiet but deadly that steals more dreams than failure ever could. It doesn't shout, it whispers, it doesn't come with force. It comes with suggestion, and once it takes root, it begins to blur your vision, dilute your confidence, and choke your purpose. That thing is comparison. It may seem harmless at first. Quick look at someone else's life, a silent thought about where they are versus where you are. But if left unchecked, comparison becomes a toxic lens that distorts how you see yourself, your journey, and your assignment. You were never created to be someone else. Your purpose, your design, your timeline, none of it was meant to match theirs, but comparison convinces you that you're behind, that you're not doing enough, that your progress is too slow, too quiet, too late. And so you start reaching not for your own potential, but for someone else's pace. You abandon your rhythm trying to match their momentum. You silence your originality trying to replicate their image. And in doing so, you walk away from the very thing that made you valuable in the first place, your authenticity. It's easy to compare when you forget why you're here. It's easy to drift into envy when you lose sight of your own purpose. But purpose is personal. It cannot be measured by external metrics. It doesn't follow a universal clock. What they are called to do and what you are called to do might both be great, but they are not the same. And if you try to run their race, you will lose yours, because destiny doesn't reward imitation. It rewards obedience. You are not graded against their journey. You are measured by what you did with what you were given. There is no peace in comparison, only pressure, pressure to perform, pressure to prove, pressure to catch up to a life that was never yours to live, and that pressure pulls you out of alignment. You start doing things for visibility instead of value. You start chasing influence instead of impact. You say yes to things that look impressive but leave you empty, because deep down you're no longer driven by purpose. You're driven by insecurity wrapped in ambition. You were never meant to compete with people, you were meant to complement. Life is not a race to outdo others. It's a journey to become your truest self. There are no trophies for who gets there first. And even if you reach the top of someone else's mountain, you'll still feel like something's missing, because it's not your mountain. You can have all the success in the world, but if it's not in the lane you were born to run, you will still feel lost. Social media has made this worse. It shows you their highlight reels and convinces you it's real life. You see the smiles, the achievements, the curated moments of glory, but you don't see the struggle, the confusion, the pain they never post. You start to believe that they've figured it out and you're the only one falling behind, but the truth is everyone is figuring it out. No one's life is as perfect as it appears. You cannot compare your behind the scenes with someone else's edited trailer. Your value is not determined by where you are compared to them. Your value is rooted in your identity. You were enough before you proved anything. You were significant before you were seen. You were chosen before you were celebrated. And if you keep looking outward to find validation, you will always feel small, because comparison will always show you someone who seems bigger, better, or faster. But when you turn inward, when you focus on your assignment, your growth, your timing, you begin to realize you were never behind. You were just on your own path, and the moment you own that, you take your power back. You move with clarity, you create with freedom, you serve with conviction. You stop measuring your worth by someone else's achievements and start measuring it by your faithfulness to your own calling. No one else can live your purpose. No one else has your exact mix of gifts, personality, story, and scars. That combination was chosen for a reason. You are not a copy. You are not a backup. You are not a mistake. You are original, and your life is not supposed to look like anyone else's. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, not with noise, but with substance. The danger of comparison is that it makes you question what is already complete. It makes you doubt the design, but you were designed with intention. Every part of you is part of the plan. Your journey may be slower, quieter, or more difficult than theirs, but it is no less meaningful. Sometimes the deepest roots grow in the hidden seasons. Sometimes the greatest preparation happens in silence. And sometimes the ones who appear last are the ones who finish strongest, because they stayed true even when no one was watching. So protect your eyes, guard your heart, watch what you feed your mind, focus on your lane, celebrate others, but don't copy them, learn from them, but don't lose yourself trying to be them, because the only way to truly live is to live as you were created, not in competition, but in purpose. There's a sobering truth that many people avoid until it's too late. You will not be judged by how busy you were. You will not be judged by how admired you were, how many people followed you, or how much applause you earned along the way. You will be judged for one thing, what you did with what you were born to do, not what you liked, not what inspired you, not what you watched others fulfill, but what was assigned to you. It is possible to spend your entire life clapping for other people and still miss your own moment. It is possible to admire great ideas, applaud meaningful work, and be deeply moved by someone else's purpose while leaving your own dormant. Too many people are emotionally invested in the dreams of others, but never pursue their own. They can quote everyone else's vision, repost everyone else's breakthrough, yet remain disconnected from their own assignment. Admiration does not equal obedience. Inspiration is not transformation. Just because something moves you does not mean it will grow you. Growth only happens when you act. Purpose is fulfilled not through appreciation, but through execution. You can respect someone's life without replicating their discipline, and in the end, it won't matter how inspired you were if you never did what you were born to do. The weight of your calling is not carried by someone else. It's yours. You won't be held accountable for someone else's race, but you will be for yours. You won't be asked how well you followed culture's expectations, but how well you followed your inner conviction. You won't be rewarded for blending in or hiding your gift under fear, comfort, or convenience. There will come a day when the question won't be, what did others think of you? But what did you do with what I gave you? You were sent here fully equipped, not with everything at once, but with the seeds, and every seed requires faithfulness. Your gift is not just a talent, it's a responsibility. It was placed inside you not just for enjoyment, but for expression. You don't get to return it unused. You don't get to say, I was waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right time is every day you still have breath. Excuses may make sense now, but they won't hold up in eternity. I was afraid. I was waiting for support. I didn't think I was enough. These will not be acceptable answers when your life is reviewed. You won't be judged based on what scared you. You'll be judged on what you did anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to obey despite fear. And you won't be judged on how much you admired someone else's purpose while you ignored your own. Your calling is not a backup plan. It's not something to get around to once life is easier. It's not meant to be stored on a shelf while you scroll through what everyone else is doing. You were born to bring something to this earth, something unique, something necessary, and that responsibility does not go away just because you delay it. Every day you avoid your assignment, something is missing in the world. Someone is missing a message, a breakthrough, a solution, a light, not because it didn't exist, but because it stayed locked inside the person who was supposed to release it. Your purpose is not just about you. It's about what happens to others when you walk in it. And that's why you'll be judged on it, because what you carry is connected to someone else's deliverance. You don't get to trade your assignment for something more comfortable and still call it obedience. You don't get to spend your life doing what's convenient and still expect the reward that comes from doing what's right. There is no substitute for purpose. You can be successful and still fail. You can be praised and still fall short. Because true success is not found in public platforms but in private obedience. Were you faithful? Were you available? Were you willing? Don't be deceived by temporary applause. The same crowd that cheers can disappear. What matters is what remains when the lights are off, the titles fade, and the distractions are gone. Will your life still speak? Will your work still stand? Will your gift still echo through lives changed, problems solved, burdens lifted? Or will it all vanish because it was never truly fulfilled? You will not be judged for how many people followed you, but how many you served. Not for how many things you started, but what you finished. Not for how deeply you felt, but how boldly you moved. You will be judged by whether or not you became what you were created to be. This is not a message of fear, but one of urgency. There's still time. As long as you are breathing, there is time to shift, to respond, to obey, to return. You may have delayed, but you don't have to disqualify yourself. You may have admired others more than you believed in yourself, but now it's time to rise. The question is not, can you? The question is, will you? Because the one thing you'll never be able to say is, I didn't know. You do know, and now it's your move. If you remember nothing else from everything we have explored, remember this. Life is not an arena where you keep score. It is a sacred assignment where you give account. Your clock is ticking, your gifts are waiting, and your generation is counting on the sound of your obedience. Stand up in the fullness of who you were sent to be. Refuse to drown in comparison. Refuse to hide behind excuses. Refuse to spend another sunrise chasing trophies that rust in the dark. Step out of the bleachers and into the purpose-built arena with your name on it. Take responsibility for every breath. Invest every second like it is precious currency, and choose, again and again, to build what will outlive you. Because one day, the author of your existence will ask only one question. Did you finish the work that was placed in your hands? Let the answer be a resounding yes, spoken not just with words, but with a life laid down in purpose, lived in courage, and delivered in full.